It's finally over. It's over. The Atlanta Falcons season is over. Atlanta Falcon fans do not have to be put through this torture anymore, because this was a miserable season if you are an Atlanta Falcons fan in a particularly weak division. This team lost to the Carolina Panthers a couple weeks ago. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals team that had a returning Kyler Murray in his first game back in over a year. Arthur Smith should be fired. I've been saying this for the last month or two. He's terrible. And he went into the middle of the field and threw a temper tantrum on Dennis Allen, saying, "Why did you score a touchdown out of victory formation?" I wish he would have put up 60. So Arthur Blank can get the message that you have a trash head coach that you hired, because he's horrible. The only reason why he was a head coach in the NFL is because of that one crazy season from Derrick Henry. That's it. He has not been a good offensive mind with this team. He's the head coach and he's an offensive play caller. He is so stubborn. He did not even give up the offensive play calling duties all season long. He was the main guy calling plays for an offense that was sluggish at times. I understand that Taylor Heineke is not a franchise quarterback and Desmond Ridder is not a franchise quarterback. But to throw those guys underneath the bus like how he did every single week, that's on him. If you know that your quarterbacks are flawed, and they're heavily flawed with this team, they're both turnover machines, why are you having them throw the ball 35 to 40 times sometimes in the game? Run the football with Bijan Robinson. Run the football with Tyler Algier. He didn't do much of that this season. Instead, he got mad when the guys in the press conference would ask him, what's going on with Bijan Robinson? Why is he not getting the football near the goal line? Why is he not getting the football in the red zone? He would come out and say, I don't care about your fantasy teams. It's not about fantasy teams. It's about going out there and winning football games. That's what it's about. When you gave Bijan Robinson the football more around the red zone, you scored more. And Tyler Algier is a good running back. He had over 1,000 yards rushing last season for a reason. He's a very good running back with this team. But you selected Bijan Robinson in the first round, a high first round pick, just to not use him in certain formations and certain games. It's inexcusable. You're not game planning well. And I understand that Cordell Patterson missed some games this season, but this is a guy that was a Swiss Army knife from last season with this team. Punt returns, kick returns, good at running back position, good with being inside the slot. You rarely used him. Against the Carolina Panthers, you did a jet sweep play. Guess what? You get a touchdown off of it. We didn't see much of him throughout this season. Kyle Pitts, very good tight end, has very good potential. I wouldn't be surprised if he was trade target at this point for the Falcons to move off of. Not because he's a bad tight end. They don't know how to use him. Because when you give him the opportunities to go down there and run with the football, and you give him the opportunity to just go down there and just touch the football a couple times in the game, he shows you that big time potential that he has at the tight end position. And a lot of people that don't pay attention to the Atlanta Falcons will say, hey, he cuts off on the routes. He's not the same tight end he was his rookie season. He does give up on certain plays. I will say that. But the reason why he hasn't been used as much with this team since Matt Ryan is because the quarterback position has not been good with this team since Matt Ryan. And also the play calls make zero sense. Jonnu Smith had a very productive season this season with this team because that's an Arthur Smith guy. Arthur Smith went out and wanted him to be on this roster because of what he was able to do with him with the Tennessee Titans. And he had a great bounce back year considering the fact that the New England Patriots basically just had him on the sideline and were doing nothing with him at all. But you have two very good tight ends. You can move off from Kyle Pitts or you can keep him. I would keep him for the next young quarterback that you may have on this roster. That's what I would do, honestly. Because Desmond Ridder will not be a starting quarterback for this team next season, and neither will Taylor Heineke. You cannot go into next season with one of those guys being your starting quarterback. No. You're going to have to move up in the NFL draft, go get Michael Penix, go talk to Chicago Bears, say, hey, what do you want for Caleb Williams? Do whatever you need to do to move up to get a quarterback. You can go into free agency and get a veteran option, but you need to go and get a true franchise quarterback that can be with this team for the next 5 to 10 years. That's easier said than done, but they're going to have to do it, whether it's moving draft capital or not, because this team is just a quarterback away. You have Drake London, who has all-world potential. You have Kyle Pitts, who is phenomenal. You have Bijan Robinson, who is a generational talent at that running back position when used correctly. You have Tyler Algier, who is a good running back. You have a very good two-back system. You can drop a quarterback into this system. He may need more seasoning. He may need more developing, but he can grow with these guys around him. They have weapons. at the wide receiving spot as well. The offensive line was up and down this season, but funny enough, when they got rid of the football quickly, the offensive line did look better on the back half of the season. It just came down to a dumb turnover from Desmond Ridder. And Desmond Ridder had a lot of good moments, but he had more terrible moments. Right now, he is just a solid backup in the NFL, and the same goes for Taylor Heineke. So they have bigger problems than just Arthur Smith, but Arthur Smith is a huge problem for this team because he's a terrible head coach. He's a terrible game planner. There is no reason to why Desmond Ridder should be throwing the ball 40 to 45 times in a game. I don't care. And I do understand this as well. What happens when you go against a team that has a very good run defense? Do what you did against the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple months ago. Use counters, use motion to open up lanes for the running back, MB John Robinson, Tyler Algier. Do that. Do more of that. Put a fullback out there to run the football. Establish the line of scrimmage. But instead, they didn't want to do that. They wanted to get cute, throw streaks down the middle of the field when you didn't need to. When it's 3rd and 1, you didn't want to run the football. You want to throw a fade ball to Drake London in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. That's what you wanted to do. And we have seen how good Kyle Pitts can be. The first game they played against Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season, it was the last pass play of the game. Desmond Ridder finds him, slant pattern, takes it up the field for 30 to 40 yards and puts them in field goal range to go win that game. And Desmond Ridder had 3 fumbles in that game that were all lost. This defense was a top passing defense this season. The pass rush was there with Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree, Caden Ellis. David Onyemata was a solid defensive tackle this season. Grady Jarrett missed a good portion of the season dealing with an injury, but before he got injured, he was still a very good productive pass rusher with this team. And don't get me started on Jesse Bates, one of the best cover safeties in the NFL. So with them going out there and moving a lot of assets to possibly get a guy like Caleb Williams, it's definitely on the table because you have the rest of the roster filled out. You have a veteran defense that's ready to win now, especially with A.J. Terrell as well. I know some people are down on A.J. Terrell. When he goes against the top 5 wide receivers, he doesn't look the same, but he's still solid against elite level competition. But he is still one of the better young corners in the NFL, especially when you have Jesse Bates up top. There is no reason that this team should have lost to the Minnesota Vikings a couple weeks ago when you had them in a horrible situation. You got a safety. You got numerous turnovers on Josh Dobbs, and yet you still lose that game. They have lost more games this season because of their offensive flaws instead of their defense. And the defense gives up the big plays at the end because they're tired. That is what's going on with this team. This is not the 90s. This isn't the early 2000s. Offenses around the NFL will find a way to go out there and score a touchdown here or there, and that's it for you. This was a terrible season for the Atlanta Falcons. You yet again do not have a franchise quarterback going into next season. Now, that can change with the NFL draft, and that can change with free agency. Possibly they go out there and trade for a quarterback. But I would not be opposed to this team going out there and trading up for a guy like Michael Penix, Drake May, or Caleb Williams. I would love to see Caleb Williams with this team because the Chicago Bears have that first overall pick. Now, you don't want to be in a situation like how the Carolina Panthers are in right now to where they just traded heaven and earth to go up there and get Bryce Young, and you just put him in a bad situation. Like I mentioned before, you have good pieces on this team. You could thrust a young quarterback into this situation and he will be fine. But you have to get the right head coach as well. Go out there and talk to the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions as well, and Coach Johnson, see if he wants to come over. The Atlanta Falcons is a very attractive spot because of the weapons that they have, and you are in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a very good market for the NFL, and is a very good market for the NBA as well. So players would not have a problem coming here. I mean, the general manager just went out and got Jesse Bates. It's time for Arthur Blank to open up that checkbook, go find a true NFL head coach. Some people may not like Coach Johnson because he's never been a head coach before. You can go out there and possibly find another guy that has high NFL experience, but you're going to have to do that. And you're going to have to find a guy that's a quarterback whisperer as well, because this team is just missing a head coach and a quarterback. Easier said than done, but this team's going to have to go out there and find that. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the Atlanta Falcons this season and what should they do moving forward? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.